Well, this is our first ever podcast, video, whatever you want to call it, for the Resume app. I think we'll introduce ourselves real quick. I'm Chris. I am the founder and software developer for the Resume app. I focus primarily on our mobile app and our website, or I guess our web app.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, my name's Shalom. I worked on development. Chris got me on board earlier this year with this big idea, and I help with a lot of development. And now I kind of work more on like the sales side and our marketing team. So, yeah, super excited.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we really just want to hone in on like why we built this and how it really benefits people. So I guess I'll take the first part, and then maybe you can talk a little bit about how it benefits people.
Yeah.
So the Resume app, um, it actually started earlier this year. I think I want to say like around March, February. Do you happen to recall, Shalom?
I think it was March. I think it was
I think it was
March.
March.
Hmm.
Okay, we'll say March. Um, when I was just casually working, and I was getting work done, and um, I have this really good app to get good resumes built. Um, Back in 2024, I landed four different um, offers within the year without really trying a whole lot because of my resume building skills using tools like ChatGPT. And I thought, hey, this would be a really good idea. This would be a really good app to build and have people use because one, people aren't really good at building resumes to begin with, and two, like AI is really where everyone's kind of going. And so I leverage my skills of being able to make an app, and then my skills of knowing how to make really good resumes, and I essentially put the two together. And that's how we kind of came to the idea. We started building, I want to say in March. If it wasn't late March, I think it was like early April, and by I think early June, we had our first beta testers. And I think we had approximately 15, somewhere between 15 and 20 beta testers at the time. And we went to a full release in early August. And right now, I think we're sitting at just a little over 100 people that have created an account with the Resume app. Funny story, we actually didn't know what we were going to call the Resume app. I remember. Did you remember this? I
Yeah.
remember us sitting there in a meeting trying to figure out what in the world we're going to call this app, and we'd been calling it the Resume app for months by this point because this is like early June. We're getting ready to release to beta. I was like, we got to have a domain name. There's no way we're releasing without a domain name. And I remember sitting there on my phone on Squarespace domains, and I was like, I wonder if the Resume app exists, right? Because we've been calling it that for weeks.
Yeah.
And I find out it was available. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just buy it. Like, what do I gotta lose?
Yep. Yep.
If we don't like it a year from now, we'll just buy a new domain.
Yeah.
And it's stuck. I think it fits very well for what we've been able to accomplish so far, and definitely has made it easy to describe to people what exactly we're trying to get done.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really funny. I remember just like being mind blown for that for like like a week or two. I was like, how did we not? And then for just how much was the domain? It was like $7 or something
It
like
was like $7. Yeah, to get the entire domain for like a year or two. I think it was like a 2-year domain for like $7.
that. Yeah. Oh
But
man.
I remember laughing too because I was like, man, we're just sitting here. We've been talking about a new domain for like 2 weeks at that point,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
nothing stuck. Like I remember we went through like all these different ideas,
Yeah.
and nothing was sticking. And then finally, we were just like, let's just do it. We're
Correct.
just buying this domain. Let's just call it.
Yeah. 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 It's pretty cool. It's pretty funny. But yeah. So the resume app, it's not just the resume app too. On top of that, but it's a great base. The name is like the perfect base for where it starts because we were like, okay, AI resume generator that takes all your data and kind of compiles it into one place. Um, the step above that that makes it like something a little more unique for like our customers that use it is it takes all of the experience. So like you stub your toe when you were 12 and you got back up on your bike again and you kept going, right? Or whatever, you scraped your knee. Um, AI can take experiences and stories from that and apply them to job posting to be like, hey, they're looking for somebody that's determined. Okay, we know that like this person is determined because I'm looking at stories like in their AI. The AI takes it, compiles them together, and be like, "This is a determined person." Um, and that's just like the baseline of where the resume app starts, right? I like to call it, and this is not on paper for us, but I like to call it like a three-dimensional resume.
Yeah,
Where yeah, where it's like everything about you, in the future too, when we keep implementing a lot of the other features we have or we have plans for, the AI will know who you are. It'll know who Shalom is, it'll know who Chris is. And so when you apply for a job, they're gonna be like, okay, it can see like this is the person they're looking for. I know who this person is already. It's not just scraping stuff off a piece of paper, making a lot of broad assumptions about who you are. Like if you just throw it in ChatGPT by itself. Um, it's going to take data from your interviews, your practice interviews, your other questions you've gone through, the rest of the data that's all on your account under your profile. It's going to take all that into consideration and then craft resumes and cover letters and give you pros and cons. Like, hey, like you're looking for a lot of jobs like this. Maybe you should work on like this skill. Let's practice this. Let's practice your intro. It can tell if you're a confident person or if you need to work on your confidence, for the future. Little things like that that just gonna they take it like way past just being a resume building website or a resume building platform to like a career building one. So
yeah, and that's really what separates us too from like the rest of the pack,
yeah.
right? Like ChatGPT, for example. Like I remember not too long ago, somebody asked me at a meetup here in Bentonville, and they're like, "What's the difference between you and like every other AI builder like ChatGPT?"
Yeah.
And I remember telling him like, "Well, the big issue is that ChatGPT can't recall all of your information."
Hmm.
Right? Like, yeah, like it can recall some stuff. It does a really good job of being able to recall certain memory points, but it can't recall every single piece of data that you have. And then even less so when it comes to your work experience, which is like personal, right? And changes constantly. Like the things that I worked on a few weeks ago are completely different from the things that I'm working on this week,
Hmm.
right? And that's the real big upside to the resume app, that with the more information that you put in your profile, the stronger your resumes and the stronger your interview prep can become, because it's not just creating something for you, it's gathering your data and then creating it for you,
Exactly.
right, based off of your information.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the scale to which that can just keep growing too is something that I'm like, I'm honestly beyond excited about because like, just, I mean, you can imagine just like what kind of person you are. The resume app can become your journal of work experiences. Like on a Friday, you can just get a little notification on your phone maybe, and you can be like, hey, like, we just met our deadline for this week, So I'll just add that in like, hey, met a deadline this week. These problems happen real quick. A minute or 2 minutes, you type it up, hit save. Now it's added to your profile. It's added to your little 3D resume of yourself. Years down the road, you're applying to a new job, applying to a new position, or you're starting up something on the side and you need to talk to somebody. You can craft a resume, a cover letter, an email,
Yeah,
even
and
potentially.
it's all just, yeah, because all your data is located there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about how, so we're dubbing it the keyword, or career memory. Sorry, that's what we're dubbing it now, career memory. And so essentially, as you progress in your career, we want to make sure that your career memory stays intact. We don't want you to accidentally lose that stuff. Because say a year from today, right? Maybe you're going through a promotion. Maybe you are looking for a new job, like you said, right?
Mhm.
Well, if it's something that maybe you haven't worked on today, but maybe you worked on it 3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah.
right? Then we can recall that memory for you and then bring it up. And let me tell you, like I've interviewed people in the past, and I've seen like how much easier it is for someone to get across the finish line if they've had even a little bit of experience, even if it was like 5 or 10 years ago. That little bit of experience is much stronger than someone newer who is just learning the tech stack,
Exactly.
right? So like the more information you're willing to give about yourself, the stronger you're going to become. Right. And like you said, like this is just like the base, right? Where I think long term, we're going to start introducing bigger features that your information will help you accelerate your career. Like one of my favorite thoughts that we've had recently is like your performance reviews. Like how many times at the end of the year, because I know I've had this in the past where like I had to
Mhm.
go back and recall like all the major things that I've done in the year. Well, my downside is I can only remember like two or three,
Yeah.
right? And I think for the most part, most people only recall like two or three, and that kind of sucks because you could accidentally lose out on a promotion or a bigger raise or some better leadership opportunities because you didn't have that, on your performance review,
Yeah.
right? So this isn't like, yes, the resume app and it's at its core, at its base is a way for you to kind of journal your work experience, but at the end of the day, we want it to be the place where you go and can recall your information. And like we've already been talking to people about different features that we want to implement in the future. Won't talk a whole lot about that today, but know that we're really user focused on how we take your information and how do we enhance that for you in either your current career or in a different career. Maybe it's a different job, maybe it's your current job, whatever it may be. But how do we leverage that to make you the best you?
Yeah. Yeah. And a question for you. So why, I guess, kind of just to tell everybody, like, why are we doing this all right now? Like, why are we launching this podcast, this video, like right now?
Yeah, no, that's an amazing question. So like we're about a week away from something really big here in Northwest Arkansas. It's called Startup Crawl. So every year, typically in September, I think there's this huge startup showcase where you can submit your name as a startup, and if you get selected, you get to showcase your startup at probably the biggest entrepreneurial showcase in all of Northwest Arkansas, probably the entire heartland, which I've been told is anywhere from Tulsa to Bentonville, Fayetteville, and up to Springfield, Missouri. So like it's a pretty big deal, right? And so we actually were selected this year to go and showcase our app. We're actually going to be they said in the email we're going to be one of the headlining showcases. We're going to be located in the Pryor Center, which is just off of Fayetteville Square. And today we really just want to help people understand who we are, like what we are as a business, and kind of get some word out. Like we want people to come support us, come check us out, especially if you're in the Northwest Arkansas region. Please come out and show your support for local businesses. It's not just us, right? It's all different types of startups in the Northwest Arkansas region, and there's some pretty cool stuff. I remember a few years ago, I went and some group of guys was working on an AI weightlifting app, and I thought that was really neat. Like this, and like I think there were some other companies out there. There were specifically outdoor companies, but like I think one guy or one company created like a new surfboard or something like that, or like some new outdoor gear, right? So it's not just tech related. It's like anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur can come out and showcase their app or their idea and get some visibility and get some thoughts. And so really, we want people to come out and support us. That's why we're launching this starting today.
Hey,
All right. So Shalom. Now that our users kind of understand more or less who we are, what the resume app is supposed to do, what let's assume somebody goes into and creates an account today. Like, what's the first thing that they should be doing? Like, what 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 are their first steps?
yeah, great question. So as soon as you create your account, obviously, right? The very first thing you want to do is just start adding your information in. It's going to prompt you for your name, put like a mobile number, an email, and then a link to your LinkedIn account, a URL link, just to kind of get started. And then after that, there's lots of options. I mean, you can put everything in manually. There's different sections for work and education, like work experiences, accomplishments, achievements, projects, lots of things, right? You could go in and put those in manually, or we do have an option where you can just upload your PDF of your like current resume, like what you've worked on already, right? And then you'll go through an AI chat, and section by section, it'll manually confirm all that information with you, and then save it to your profile. So, yeah, that as soon as you get in, like the very first thing you want to be doing is just letting the AI, our platform, know who you are. Um, Adding as much information as you can, and like Christian said, like the more information that's there, like the better and better it's gonna work. Um, yeah. So for like career memory, that's what we're calling it. I like to focus in on a lot of like work experiences too, just because like saying like a company name at a job position, and I worked with this, and here's some languages, or like for example software, here's some programming languages I work with, that that doesn't say as much, right? Even with a little description, it can be a little vague sometimes. So a huge thing is the actual experience you've had from work. Like, hey, I was building an application that did XYZ thing. You can even say the name of the thing. For example, I was working on an AP automation software system that at my previous job, it would scan and read PDFs, and we help program it to recognize certain document formats for certain companies that worked in logistics, right? Or distribution companies. So we were scanning in those documents. So typing all that in, like that's all my profile now. And so AI is going to be like, it's going to see that and it's going to be able to understand, like, okay, I know exactly what this guy was doing. Here's a problem and a solution he solved in that niche as well. Like, can you imagine what your cover letter is going to look like when you're applying the job that's looking for somebody who wants to work with logistical software? Like, it's going to be so like
Right.
it's and that was just one project, and like maybe, well, sorry, one project I worked at the company. But if I put 5 experiences I had doing that, then there's multiple points there to be drawn upon to really like hone in and be like, hey, this is the guy for this job. Like, look, like I've got a list of things he's done. I got all these experiences. I know who he is too. It's like, hey, this is a calm, cool-headed guy, or an energetic, like very passionate developer, whatever it might be, right? It's gonna know me.
Yeah, and I think you hit something that, like, a lot of people don't recognize. Is
Mhm.
like, I think long gone are the days where you would just, like, try to find a way to bullet point what you're saying, and now are the days where, like, you can write out an entire summary of what you did for, like, one giant project or whatever, and, like, our AI is smart enough to go in and then say, "Okay, how do I take the highlights from this and match it to what the job description is?" And then tailors a perfect resume in seconds based off of that information. It's kind of cool how quickly all that happens too.
Yeah, 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 and we've talked with a lot of our beta testers, a lot of our current users, and they've even given us feedback on a few other things too. Because typically we built this whole thing to work on like on our website, right? And then we decided like, hey, like a lot of users, they're on the go, like say like one of our users is one of my good friends, and he has a 2-year-old kind of just like us. And so a lot of times his wife's driving, he's in the back seat, with the kid trying to make sure there's a toy or something. Or and he says that in one hand he'll be applying for jobs on his phone. And I was like, I've been there. I was doing that too. I was
I've been there.
Yeah, yeah, like, I was, like, trying to multitask. I'm in a back seat somewhere, I'm sitting, like, at a restaurant, I'm just on my phone like, "Oh, a new job just got posted. It seems like it's a perfect fit. Let me apply to it as fast as I can." And so we we have a mobile app as well. We have it on the Apple Store, and do we have the one on Android now?
Yeah, it's on Android. It's both
Oh,
Android
perfect.
and iOS now.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's a win. I have both, so I'm not gonna be
Yeah,
too.
so do I.
Oh, wow. That's a big flex. But yeah, no, we have it both on the Play Store and on the Apple Store. So, yeah, on the go, just quick, like imagine trying to do. I mean, that's what we were doing, right? I was trying to like see the job posting. I was even using other AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude to kind of format my resume or reword things. But I'm on my phone, like trying to copy and paste and then put it in something and come out. And then versus like on the resume app, it's all there. I can just drop the job posting. It just pops it out and then
And just creates that resume for you right there and then, and then you just download it, save it to where you want, and you're golden.
mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing technology. I think I'm even more surprised with how quickly we built it. I don't know if you got a chance to see this on LinkedIn, but the other day I mentioned how, like, we actually had the mobile app ready to go, like, I want to say like 3 or 4 weeks before we actually released it.
Oh.
But Apple kept rejecting our app in true Apple fashion, right? Like, if there are any mobile developers out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But um, and it was because the original idea to the mobile app was we were going to make it a companion app to the resume app, right? And that's why like that's why if you search for it, you have to actually search for the resume app companion app.
Mm,
We'll
yeah.
probably change that in the future, but like the original theory or thought was that we would have the web app and you would create your account, set all your profile information through there. And then as you're on the go, because your profile is already synced to our servers, then you would just go on your phone and you would just create PDFs, right? Like there's no other manual information that you would have to add.
hmm
But after Apple told us what we needed to fix, we went back and we kind of had to redesign quite a bit of what we needed to do. So instead of making it just subscription based off of the web app, we introduced in-app subscriptions for the mobile apps, both Android and iOS. And we also added in our profile section. So now a user can create a profile. They can create an account. They can delete their account. They can do everything that they can do almost everything you could do on the web app on the mobile app. And the amazing thing now is it's it's accessible both on mobile and tablet. So it doesn't matter if you're using an iPad, an Android tablet, an iPhone or an Android device. Like it's going to run really well on either one of your devices, like whichever device it is. Or if you really just want to hop on the web, you're welcome to hop on the web. But I'm gonna tell you guys that since we released the app, most of our users are now mobile. They like I've been looking through our analytics stuff, and I can see that majority of our users, even the users that we had prior to releasing the app, are now using the mobile app way more. And I can definitely see why. It's a lot. I think it's a lot more simple to use. It's definitely faster to use, especially if you already have a tablet or a phone. It's really quick to just go. My favorite thing to do is because I'll test out the app a lot. Is I'll grab my tablet, like my iPad, and like I'll just split screen it, and I'll have one side be the resume app, and the other one be like Indeed or LinkedIn or something. And
Mm.
then I'll just copy and paste stuff over and just test it out that way. And it's amazing. It's just amazing how quickly we were able to build that. It's like, and I remember even saying in that LinkedIn post, like, if we had known the amount of issues that Apple was going to give us when we first released, we probably would have redesigned it differently from the very beginning, and we probably actually would have released about 2 weeks earlier, probably only like a week or two after what our original date was, because it wasn't that much more that we needed to add. But the
Mhm.
downside was that now we already had this app built, and we had to actually take away a lot and redesign the app for it.
Yeah.
So, so there's that. Well, hey, why don't you talk a little bit about like resume building and like interview prep and like how we use people's information to help them with that?
So resume building, kind of like what we've already kind of talked about a little bit. Um, yeah, so it draws on all your personal experiences when you drop in a job posting, right? There's three things. There's a job posting, there's the position, the name of the position, and then there's the name of the company you're applying for. When you're going to generate a resume. And super subtle like adjustment we got from feedback from users was like when your PDF generated, that it just generates the name for you because like most people are applying for jobs electronically, right? So they want your name to be on the name of the PDF. And so if you just have like it's just the position, the company name, and then your name on there, there's no I have to rename this PDF after I download it because it's just called PDF, 9642 EFG and
Yeah.
underscore, yeah, and a bunch of symbols. It's already like the name of the file even is just formatted. Super subtle like thing, but that much faster and that much easier to just be like you said, like the split screen. And you're just one side to the other, and then when you go through your list of downloads, you're like, oh, that's I was applying to ABC company, for their whatever position that's in the name of the file. Um, but yeah, and then what was the other thing you said?
And like with interview prep too, like I don't think we've talked a whole lot about interview prep yet.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, interview prep was an idea that popped up like a little early on when we were talking because we were like we want to
Yeah,
do a
that's
little bit
right.
more than just like an AI resume generating app. We wanted to be way more than that. Um, and that idea kind of popped up, and we were like, well, what if you could just do like me in 30 seconds, like elevator pitch myself, and like work with AI to kind of graph like, hey, you said like 4 or 5 times, or you kind of blabbed a little bit about things that didn't matter, or it can be shortened down, or you did a great job, like, but here's 1 or 2 points you can improve on, just for an elevator pitch of yourself, which I mean, I work in sales and marketing, and being able to communicate effectively in a very short amount of time, a lot of information is like it's a skill. It takes practice, but like once you learn how to do it, and I can always be better at it. I learn every day. Um, your ability to like be in an interview, like for example, before I started, I use this too. I use the resume app too, right? Before I started using the resume app, I felt like in job interviews, I was always trying to convince them, like, hey, yeah, I'm the right software engineer for the job. Like, I'm the right guy for
Yeah.
that. But after I practiced, like, pitching myself, basically selling who I was and being confident, knowing like what I do know, what I don't know, what I can learn, and what might be a little more difficult, I was able to show up in job interviews. And one of the first job interviews I got using the resume app, uh, they were trying to convince me that I was the person for the position, as opposed to the other way around, because I was like, hey, I can do this, this, and this is what I can do. And the interviewee, the HR hiring the hiring manager was like, "Oh, well, let me see. Like, I think you'd be great here or great here. Like, I think you're a good fit. Like, let me see if I can get another interview with you." And da 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 da. Um, so like, I was kind of blown away a little bit because I was like, I didn't learn any like new skills as
Right.
or
Yeah.
like on paper, right? But being able to just practice my myself, like practice pitching myself, practice communicating myself, have my me in 30 seconds, practice doing other interview questions as well, like hey, tell me about yourself. The biggest biggest question in interviewing, right?
Yeah.
About yourself. And practicing other things because there's a multitude of information that AI has access to that can help adjust how you present yourself. And that's
Yeah. And
yeah, go ahead.
oh no, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was gonna say like you bring up a super similar story to somebody that just like responded to our email, and they were telling us a little bit about the interview prep, and they had mentioned how when like they saw a couple of questions that like they got a few questions right from the interview prep, and they were specifically targeting a couple of questions because they didn't really know how to answer it themselves, so they were trying to figure out how they were going to answer it. Well, funny enough, like those two questions were actually some of the questions that were asked, not in the exact same way, but in a different way during his interview.
Hmm.
And so it's one of those things. Like I told this to a lot of people. I was talking to somebody else about this not too long ago. How like
Well,
when we create your resumes and like that resume gets handed to a hiring manager or the interviewer, whomever it may be, but whatever's on your resume is fair game. So that means whatever data that you have saved in your profile is also fair game. And you want to talk about that and you want to seem like the best fit. Or in your case, you want to say enough so that they stop asking why are you a good fit and then start saying this is why you need to come work for us. Right. And I mean we can see how that's already working with some of our interview prep stuff. I'm excited for stuff that we're going to work on in the future with interview prep I guess I'll talk a little bit about it where it's still not a full-fledged product yet. We're still in our very early testing phases of this, but we do plan on using AI to help with your with recording and your video and audio and giving you feedback in real time on how you're doing as an interviewee. So like I'm excited for the future of artificial intelligence and how it's going to be able to just help a lot more people. Like you said, there's nothing new was learned. A lot of these things were already there, right? These are skills have probably been there for forever. We just some people just need to maybe be a little bit better about it, or maybe some people are really good at it, and maybe there's a new question that hasn't been asked. I know for a fact. The other day, I was testing it out, and a few questions popped up that I was asked in an interview like 3 years ago.
hmm.
So it so like I said, like everything's fair game when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. We have so many ideas. That's one of my more favorite ones, I think, right now. I'm really excited about implementing in the future, just because repetition too, and being able to understand yourself and have that level of confidence about what you know. Um,
Yeah.
and not come off as like overconfident, of course, right? Like, about it.
Yeah,
But
you wanna be like the perfect amount of confidence going in there,
yeah,
right? You don't wanna make it seem like you're too cocky, but you also don't wanna undersell yourself, right?
yeah, it comes down to knowing who you are, and when you record it, when you write it down, and then when our platform shows you who you are too, because it's been compiling everything about you and your work experience, you can see who you are with full confidence. You'd be like, "Hey, you might think like, oh, I'm a subpar developer," and then you look at your resume that's generated, and you're like, this is all true information. I guess I'm okay." you know?
Yeah. And I was just listening to a podcast. I think it was with Simon Sinek, if you know who he is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And he was talking about how like um we or maybe it wasn't Simon Sinek. Oh, who was it? It was the Harvard professor. I can't remember his name. He was talking about imposter syndrome,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Mhm.
And he was talking about how you yeah, like imposter syndrome is a real thing, but you really shouldn't lean too much into it because even though you don't feel like you deserve it, like whoever's interviewing you, they felt like you deserve it, right? So stop looking at the things you don't know and start focusing on the things you do know,
Mm,
right? And when you get in on that, when you get that that job offer, right? Go back and look at that resume that was created, and then just kind of think like, hey, this is all true. This is 100% true. Like we know it's true, because it's your data. It's your information that we're using. We're not adding in anything else. We're not making up anything within the process. It's all your information. We're just maybe fine tuning a few words here and there to
Hmm.
ensure that it passes the ATS or that it actually looks good in front of a hiring manager or HR.
Hmm.
But it's all your information, and I think that's one of the things that really does define us too, because I've seen recently how there have been some more of these hacky type AI companies who come out and say, like, just throw in your job description and we'll just create a resume for you. And
Yeah.
like that hurts so many people. That hurts you because if you don't know the stuff, then now you have to fake it till you make it. And if you make it, I guess good for you. But if you don't, that's one less, or that's one more job you have to now talk about in a separate interview in the future. You hurt a company because now the company has to go back and try to figure out who they're actually going to hire, and you hurt someone who actually did deserve the position, right? I think that's the person you hurt the most.
Yep.
Like you're hurting someone who has probably been unemployed for a while, or maybe they're looking for something to level up their game or their experience, right? And you're literally hurting that person from progressing in their goals. So like we don't want to be known for that, and we're not going to be known for that because we want to ensure that everything is going to be built with the utmost of integrity, right?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I've tried using some. I'm not going to name what resume building
Yeah,
site.
that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, but yeah, I've used some where I was just like, let me just see how it works real quick, and it says it's going to do a free one, so I'd throw my information in there, and it would generate a resume, and I'd look through and be like, okay, that's fine, yeah, cool, cool, and then all of a sudden I see stuff that's not true on there. That's the thing that like scared me the most. I was like, I've never used Jenkins. Why did it say Jenkins? That was not on my resume. It wasn't on any of my experience I put in. Like it added a bunch of skills and experiences I didn't have.
Yeah,
Um, and so like with a lot of other platforms, are like that's something to be careful about. It's something we focus on. Obviously, we want to have the best version of you, everything about you. Obviously, the more data that's in there, the better it's going to be. But we want it to present these, potential people. You guys, I mean, if they're like hiring agencies or like recruiting agencies that are like watching this too, then like we want the people that you guys find to be presented the best as well. Like we don't, sometimes you have a great candidate with like some of the recruiting agencies, and then they'll just kind of not have the best interviewing skills, or they just don't understand themselves enough to really market themselves in an interview setting. And so then it kind of looks bad on the recruiting agency, right? Because they're just like, well, there was this guy who was supposed to be good, but like when I talked to him, he like didn't. He
no,
was having a hard time talking to us. Yeah, like
yeah,
I don't think he knew what was going on. Maybe he was
yeah,
just
and
nervous.
like
Yeah.
I've been speaking with hiring managers nonstop for the last like maybe month, maybe 2 months now,
Hmm.
and that's exactly the feedback that they're giving me. Where like because so many people have learned how to hack the ATS, now they're getting all these people who are actually bad at their job. And so then they have to go figure out like, okay, like are we keeping them or are we not? Because we've already invested this time to try to hire them. Is it worth the investment to try to give them extra time to learn, or is it better to just kind of go back to the drawing board?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like this is the struggle that like everyone's going through. And like in this economy, it's even more rough too. Like in in a normal economy, I think it would be nice to, or it would be easier to say, yeah, we'll maybe give you a little bit more time to learn this stuff, right? But you
Mhm.
can't really be like hiring managers are starting to get very cautious with who they're hiring. It almost feels like you have to have everything that they're asking for, or you're just not going to get accepted.
Yeah.
Not for an offer, but like for an interview at the very least, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For
So
sure. For sure.
there's that. Um, Here let's talk a little bit about like what we can do to, or I guess who this really helps out. Like we've been talking about like why we built it. We talked about how it works.
Mhm.
Like, well, who's this going to help at the end of the day?
uh, honestly, in my opinion, I think it helps everybody. I think it helps.
You know, I agree. Maybe that's just a fact.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact of the matter, like, it's just unavoidables. I mean, you're helping individuals who, like, use the app independently, and they're applying, they're practicing skills, they're doing an interview prep and practice, et cetera, et cetera. Um, Recruiting agencies that are looking for people, like, say, I'm a recruiter and I find, like, 5 guys or young ladies that are applying for a job, and I'm like, "Hey, like, I wanna send you guys over here. You guys, like, kinda organize and work on your stuff through the resume app real quick. Practice some of the skills that there, like interview prep, et cetera. And then when you get your new like updated resume, send it back to me, and then I'll send it out to my hiring manager. And then like this is kind of how the interviews go. You can, as a recruiter, you can prep them so much more for that HR, so you look great. You know,
Yeah.
imagine the hiring manager like saying like, "Holy cow!" You know, my recruiter just sent me like 5 people, and I can't even decide between which five because they were just that awesome. Like I'm having a hard time because they just sent me five such good candidates that were so prepared and ready, um, and not like
Yeah,
all
and
over.
let me tell you, that's a huge thing that people are looking for right now. I was just speaking with a few hiring managers, and one specific guy I remember, actually a few come to mind, but like one specifically was like, yeah, every time I have a recruiting agency find me um, potential interviewers or interviewees,
Mhm.
they'll send me back like two or three that they think is good, and I'll be like, send me all of them. And then I look through every single resume, and he finds out that they're awful. Like not a single one of them is actually going to be a good fit for what his role is. And so he'll actually go back and be like, please go back and try again. And
Yeah.
so like it kind of it's funny because hiring managers want the best fit.
Mhm.
It feels like recruiters a lot of the time are just really trying to close out their job description. And
Mm.
there's like this middle in between here that where like there's this disconnect between what the hiring managers want and what the recruiters are going for. And so like we're hoping to bridge that gap in the future,
Mhm.
right? And then I guess we're starting by making sure, you know, your everyday Joe can go out onto the resume app, learn some or like prep themselves with interviewing skills and then build out the resumes, get that to whomever. And then the eventual goal, the long-term goal will actually be to help everybody get in contact with recruiters or different companies across
Yeah.
the nation, maybe globally. But let's start nationwide first,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And and then just help them find that perfect job. I
Mhm.
keep going back to this stat. I was reading. I think the stat said it was like something like 73% of Americans are disengaged at work, and I think that is just sad. Like I'm sorry, but I don't. I think it's wrong that we're so disengaged in work, and I get it. Don't get me wrong, I get it, but that doesn't mean we have to keep it that way forever. So like why don't we empower people to go out and try to find the best match for them? Right? Maybe it's still within their company, but it's just maybe using their skills on something else. Or maybe it is time for a different job, right? Maybe it's the same career field, but maybe it's at a different company. Or maybe it's just a completely different career change in general.
Yeah.
Maybe yesterday they were very into accounting. Tomorrow they discovered, hey, I don't really like accounting. Maybe I want to go into tech, or maybe I want to go into marketing or business
Mhm.
finance or whatever it is, right? But let's like that's our long-term goal with the resume app. We don't want people to stand still. We want them to feel empowered. We want them to move forward in their goals.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. It's almost like a, I mean, this is the resume app, right? But it's almost like a people building platform.
Yes.
And
That's exactly what it is. And I like the way you described it earlier. This or earlier is like it's kind of like creating a 3D resume, right? It's no longer just paper. It's now about who you are and how we can apply those skills in a more spherical, more three-dimensional way to actually get you to where you want to be and where you hope to be.
yeah, yeah. You know, I'll raise you a dimension. I think it might be technically four dimensionals. Because
Oh,
let's say you're using the resume app for 5 years. Like who you were at the beginning is not who you are now. So that's another thing that's going to be added in.
that
Like,
is
hey,
your
look at
point
the
there.
growth. Like this is where they were here at this time, and this is a AI will be able to once again see and take apart and explain like, hey, this person was just a junior software engineer. Now they're like a senior software architect in just 4 years or 5 years. Like they've learned all these skills. These are problems that they're solving now, and this and that. Like, you imagine like getting a resume like that. Like
Yeah.
companies are going to be like, oh, this guy sounds awesome, you know? But like, how do you explain that? Like, oh, I learned super fast. You know, I mean, everybody
Yeah, exactly.
fast learner on their, you know, on their resume, right? That's like
Right.
the most default phrase I think I've ever read on a
Yeah,
resume.
no, you're totally right. And then like how many people actually look at those skills that say faster? Well, like, yeah, but like how do I judge that?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
like how do I judge you're fast? Or how do I believe you or whatever, right?
yeah. And sometimes
And
like but like the biggest thing too, like you're saying with we're calling our career memory. like we don't realize it. We don't realize like how much we've accomplished, because we're working on it. We got stuff like right in our field of vision. We don't see like dude, you're not just a fast learner, you're a really fast learner. Just look at the amount
Yeah.
of time and effort you've put in. Like we can show you your resume and you're like, oh, technically that is me. Wow, like I did do all that. I have accomplished all that. This is where I am right now. And then coming into the interview once again with a great resume, that level of confidence, seeing yourself over time continuously growing, and your 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional journal of yourself, uh,
Yeah.
giving you a little, pat on the back and saying you got this. I mean that changes the whole thing. I mean, a little confidence goes a long way. And when it's based into something that you can see with your eyes, like you have evidence of who you are, which is the resume app, evidence of your greatness, right? And your potential to continue growing. I think it's such an awesome tool. I just think it's so awesome.
Oh, I'm 100% with you,
Yeah.
and I'm not just saying that because I built it. Like, I truly believe in the product, and I've said this before. I'll say it again. Like, I remember when we first went live, or maybe it was during our beta phase. I actually can't recall, but I remember over the span of like 3 hours, I put in something like 27 resumes,
Mhm.
and over the next 48 hours, I received something like 9 rejections, seven, no, sorry, 9 total responses. That's what it was. 9 responses, 7 rejections, and 2 interview requests within 48 hours. So I was like, I remember sitting there thinking, hey, we actually built something that works.
It
Like,
flies.
yeah, like it worked. Like I remember when we were first starting it out, like the very first week, like I had so much trouble trying to work with the LLM, and trying to figure out how I was going to get my data over to the or to the AI to work with the job description. I remember having so much trouble making that work. And
Yeah.
then, like a few weeks later, right? Because I think, like I said, I think we started in like early April. This had to have been like late in May, early June when I did this.
Mhm.
But just to see it like just immediately work and see the results back, like that was a pretty big deal for me. I even went as far as actually interviewing with one of the companies. I actually stopped like halfway because I didn't want to waste their time. But I went through a couple of rounds, because I wanted to test out the interview prep feature as well. And I found a couple. There weren't not all the questions that I looked at in my interview prep came up, but a couple did come up more or less, and so I was able to at least finesse my way into using them somehow, or like the practice responses that I had,
Yeah.
use them in those. But like that's the power of building something you believe in. Like I believe not only that this is a great tool, but like I've seen the results firsthand. And I know there are other people between our beta users and our non-beta users, like our now overall everyone users. Like I can see how this is benefiting so many people. Um, and I'm just really excited to see how it's going to grow and it's going to evolve and how we're going to be able to help even more people with their career goals and going into the future, especially with their career memories. Like that's just going to be an amazing thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and another thing too that's really tricky, but like to be able to implement that career memory in for like say there's a lot of software developers right now. Software jobs are really hard to come by for people with less than like 5 years experience. So we'll say a lot of people that are
Yeah,
graduating right now or have graduated about 5 years ago, or 4 years ago. So we're under five, right? But it's really hard to get that like work experience. What work experience to have with software? Not a ton. So that's one of the biggest pushes we had for like building this app to draw on other experiences as well for like entry level candidates looking for jobs. Then on top of that, um, right now, like say if you're like I know 3 friends that have just graduated with computer science degrees that are not working in software jobs right now, but they do practice software projects on the side. So with our project section, you can do the same thing. Like, "Hey,
I've just
I
throw it
work
in there.
in an app, like, here's a problem I ran into this week, let me just add it in here. I'll keep adding it in, adding more information, like, I ran into a bug, I did it this is how I solved it." Just keep adding more and more of those experiences into your profile, and you'll have work experience enough, at least for projects, that can still be drawn upon when you're generating your resumes, when you're doing practice in the future, when you're doing interviews, things like that, that you can draw upon. So like it's an all-around tool for anybody really, no matter where you are in the path of software and senior software architects with, 20 years of experience to recent graduates as well that are just looking to try to get some experience on their own. Maybe they got a startup, maybe they're just working on building a trading card game app on their iPhones. I don't know who is doing that. But but yeah, whatever experiences you have, you can put it in there. Projects is especially a really big option too for those who don't have a ton of experience yet. So it's just something I really like, really enjoy about it. That creates that opportunity.
100%. All right. Well, I think we're definitely coming up to time. So, is there
Yep.
anything else you think we should tell our users? Anyone who's listening to this? Any words
Um,
of encouragement?
words of encouragement. Hey, you got this, guys. You don't, guys and girls alike. Just you can do it. It does take dedication. It does take some diligence, but if you love what you do and you're enjoying it and you see the vision of your future, the first biggest thing is you want to be able to write it down. You're gonna need to record your experiences somewhere. That's the opportunity that's just right here. It saves all your experiences. You can go back and look at them. You'll learn more about yourself. You'll learn where you can improve. But also remember, there's things you're great at. There's things you're great at too, and those will also be contained. So in the app. So you got this. You got this.
I like that. I don't think this is some good word. I feel motivated to go out there and just keep building this out.
Yeah, yeah. We have
I think
more.
for me,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
oh, sorry. No, man, I keep cutting you off today.
I'm
I
just
feel
really
that.
excited, dude.
No, I think I would just tell people, hey, just keep grinding. It's rough out there, but it's rough for everyone. But definitely, like, if you're in the area next week in Northwest Arkansas, please come down to Fayetteville. Come check us out. We're going to be in the Pryor Center. Come check out the Resume app news. We'll probably post some stuff on social media in the next few days about that. And then, like, definitely download the app. I'll have to find a way to like post links and all that somewhere.
Huh.
Um, but like, please use it, and like, don't be afraid to reach out to us. And you know what? Maybe I'll even put my email down there in the description, and just be like, if something happens, like, email me directly, and I will look into it. Because I I want to build a product that's not just a product for like for for users. I want it to be a good product. I want to be a product that is actually going to make you happy,
Yeah.
and something that's going to make I'm going to be proud of. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm already proud of. Yeah, but I could definitely be more proud of the app.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, no, there's a ton of features. That's what I was gonna say before. I was just hyped up about future features that we're gonna be adding. Like, there's so many. Like, there's so much room for growth. I mean, it's really niche too. Like what we're doing, it is really niche in a sense, but it also has just like the potential of growth. Like so far,
Oh,
um,
easy.
yeah, it's so much, so easy, especially where the level of technology and things are with AI growing. Like every day, AI gets better and better. So every day we can hone in more and develop more like features or streamline our features that we do have to be even more effective and useful. But yeah.